The quiet of a Sunday evening was shattered in an instant. The tranquility that had settled over the village was abruptly replaced by sheer panic and confusion. As midnight approached on August 31, 2025, a violent tremor ripped through eastern Afghanistan's mountains. The seismic waves traveled swiftly, shaking the very foundations of the earth. The ground roared and buckled, tossing families from their beds as walls cracked and ceilings collapsed. The once sturdy homes were now fragile structures, unable to withstand the force of nature. The air filled with the sound of destruction and cries of fear. People ran into the streets, their faces etched with terror, as the earth continued to shake beneath their feet. The United States Geological Survey quickly confirmed a powerful 6.0 magnitude earthquake. The news spread rapidly, alerting the world to the unfolding disaster. Its shallow depth, just 8 kilometers, meant maximum devastation for the communities above. Buildings crumbled, roads cracked, and the landscape was irrevocably altered. The shaking was felt as far as Kabul and Islamabad, but the epicenter was a scene of chaos. The heart of the disaster lay in the small villages and towns that bore the brunt of the quake. Traditional mud and brick homes crumbled instantly, trapping families inside. The cries for help were muffled by the debris as rescue efforts began in earnest. Survivors stumbled into the darkness, calling out for loved ones amid dust and confusion. The night was filled with the sounds of desperation and the search for missing family members. As night dragged on, the true scale of the tragedy would only begin to emerge with dawn. The first light of morning revealed the full extent of the devastation, as survivors surveyed the ruins of their homes and lives. Scientific data painted a stark picture. The earthquake struck at 11:47 p.m., catching families at their most vulnerable. The epicenter was just 27 kilometers northeast of Jalalabad, near the Pakistan border. The shallow quake amplified the shaking, devastating remote mountain villages. Steep valleys and winding roads made these communities especially vulnerable. The seismic waves hit with brutal force, leaving little time to react. Many were trapped in their homes, unable to escape. Darkness and lack of electricity hampered frantic rescue efforts. The quake's impact spanned Kunar and Nangarhar, regions already scarred by conflict. The disaster's complexity demanded a response across borders and rugged terrain. As dawn broke, the first light of day revealed the true extent of the devastation. The scale of the catastrophe became clear, with entire villages reduced to rubble and countless lives disrupted. Initial reports spoke of over 250 dead and 500 injured, but the numbers kept rising as more information came in. By day's end, at least 622 lives were lost, 610 in Kunar, 12 in Nangarhar. The death toll was a grim reminder of the earthquake's ferocity. More than 1,500 were injured, overwhelming local clinics and hospitals that struggled to cope with the influx of patients. Behind every number was a family shattered, entire villages torn apart, and communities left in despair. Survivors wandered the ruins, searching for loved ones who would never answer, their cries echoing through the desolate landscape. Health facilities were quickly overwhelmed, with wounded carried for miles on makeshift stretchers, desperate for medical attention. Many remote villages remained cut off, their fate unknown, as blocked roads and damaged infrastructure hampered rescue efforts. Rescue workers dug through rubble, racing against time and hope, their efforts a testament to human resilience and solidarity. The death toll was expected to rise as more areas became accessible, revealing the full extent of the tragedy. The nation mourned a loss that would echo for years, a collective grief that would shape the community's future. The earthquake's destruction was concentrated in the eastern Afghan provinces of Kunar and Nangarhar, where the tremors struck with relentless force. These regions, already vulnerable due to their mountainous terrain and remote villages, bore the brunt of the disaster. The devastation was immediate and overwhelming, leaving entire communities in shock and despair. Districts like Nur Gal, Sawki, Watpur, Manogi, and Chapa Dara were among the hardest hit. In these areas, the earthquake's impact was so severe that nearly every building was damaged or destroyed. Homes, schools, and mosques, structures that had stood for generations, were reduced to rubble in a matter of moments. Entire villages were flattened, their mud brick homes collapsing in seconds under the violent shaking. Families who had lived side by side for decades suddenly found themselves without shelter, their lives upended in the blink of an eye. Landslides triggered by the quake buried homes and cut off communities from the outside world. Mountain roads, already treacherous, became impassable, making rescue and relief efforts even more difficult. Many villages were left isolated, with survivors waiting desperately for help to arrive. In Sawki's Dewa Gul and Nur Gul's Mazar Dara, the damage was nothing short of catastrophic. Entire neighborhoods were wiped out, and the landscape was forever changed. The loss was not just physical, but deeply emotional, as families mourned loved ones and neighbors lost in the chaos. Survivors were left with nothing, no shelter, no food, and in many cases, no family. The few belongings they managed to salvage were all that remained of their former lives. Makeshift shelters sprang up among the ruins, offering little protection from the elements. Many slept in the open, surrounded by the shattered remains of their homes and the overwhelming grief of loss. The nights were cold and filled with uncertainty, as families clung to each other for comfort and hope. Livestock and food supplies were destroyed, leaving communities on the brink of hunger. Water sources, once vital for daily life, became contaminated by debris and landslides, raising fears of disease and further hardship. The quake not only took lives, but also threatened the future of thousands. Children wandered through the ruins, their faces marked by fear and confusion, while parents struggled to find a way forward amidst the devastation. Recovery would mean rebuilding not just homes, but entire communities. It would require immense effort, resilience, and support from both within and outside the region. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but hope persisted among the survivors. The scars of that night would last for generations, etched into the land and the hearts of those who lived through it. For many, the memory of the earthquake would remain a defining moment, shaping their lives and their communities for years to come. In the aftermath, a desperate race against time began. Survivors became first responders, digging through rubble with bare hands. Landslides blocked roads, isolating the hardest-hit villages. Aid convoys stalled, helicopters limited by weather and terrain. Many communities were left to fend for themselves for days. Rescuers faced unstable ground and constant aftershock threats. Every attempt to save a life risked further collapse. The rescue was slow, dangerous, and a testament to human resilience. Afghanistan's response was swift and determined. The government pledged all available resources, dispatching doctors and vital medicines to Kunar. Local residents and officials became heroes, digging through rubble and sharing what little they had. Aid teams from other provinces braved damaged roads to help. Clinics were overwhelmed, with the wounded flooding into Jalalabad's regional hospital. Doctors and nurses worked around the clock, saving countless lives. The spirit of unity and resilience was palpable. In the face of disaster, Afghans stood together. The terror didn't end with the main quake. Powerful aftershocks, some as strong as 5.2, rocked the region. Each tremor sent waves of panic through traumatized survivors. Many refused to enter buildings, sleeping outside in the cold. Aftershocks complicated rescue efforts, making every operation perilous. The psychological toll was immense. Families huddled in makeshift camps, haunted by fear. Children were especially vulnerable to lasting trauma. The need for mental health support was as urgent as food and shelter. Rebuilding homes would be hard, healing invisible wounds even harder. The Earth's unrest left scars both seen and unseen. This disaster was part of Afghanistan's seismic reality. The country sits atop a volatile tectonic boundary, making earthquakes inevitable. Recent history is marked by deadly quakes, Herat in 2023, Paktika in 2022. Vulnerable mud brick homes and poverty compound the risk. Each disaster follows a familiar tragic pattern. The urgent need, better building codes, public awareness, and early warning systems. Afghanistan cannot stop the earth from shaking, but it can prepare. The challenge is monumental, but lives depend on it. As devastation spread, the world responded. The UN and aid agencies mobilized, bringing shelter, food, and medical care. The Afghan Red Crescent and international teams worked side by side. The risk of disease and the coming winter loomed over survivors in makeshift camps. Rebuilding would require immense resources and long-term commitment, yet hope persisted in neighbors' courage, doctors' dedication, and global solidarity. The earthquake revealed both the fragility and resilience of the Afghan people. Recovery would be long, but not impossible. With sustained support, eastern Afghanistan could begin to heal.